Coffee. Coffee is what brings us together. Hey everyone. Welcome to episode 59 of Coffee and Cloud Native. My name is Adrian Goins. Every night, I and my army of bots scour the internet for news and content related to Kubernetes and Cloud Native, and every day I come here to bring it to you as long as the internet is cooperating. And today, well, it's mostly cooperating. So it's a curated list of content. I go through around 200 submissions every night, and I select just a handful of them for the next day's show, unless there are less than 200 submissions, and unless 96% of the submissions suck. In which case, I'm left with just 4%. But I'm really excited to bring that 4% to you together today. Yeah, so we're having some we're not having technical difficulties today, but Restream did some update overnight. And so the chatbot's broken. It's requesting bot permissions from Discord that it's unauthorized. That doesn't work. You can't log in with Chrome because they're doing something stupid with reCAPTCHA. I spent like 15 minutes select all the pictures of palm trees, select all the pictures of cars. And it does the refresh thing and usually it's pretty fast. I don't know if reCAPTCHA is having an issue, but it's like, new image, click, new image. And finally I just gave up. So we're up, we're here. We're live on Twitch, we're live on YouTube. The only thing that's not working right is the Restream chatty body, Restreamy body thing. So just come to Discord and hang out. So if you're chatting on YouTube or Twitch, you guys will be able to see each other, but we won't be able to see you in Discord. Wifebot is all over it, so she'll be relaying stuff and occasionally yelling at me to pay attention. Hold on, I'm gonna close my door. So today's actually going to be a really, really, really chill day because I don't have that much to talk about. So I've got the chat window open over here and it's not making any noise. Why is it not making noise? I don't know. So yeah, if you want my attention, just say my name and maybe something will make noise. And so let's just get started talking about what we've got. And if we run out of stuff to talk about, we'll just end the show early. So I need your help to make sure that doesn't happen, all right? Oh, I forgot to select the browser window. So busy clicking on pictures of palm trees. Hang on. And cars, and bicycles, and chimneys. It really likes me to solve chimney pictures. I don't know why. How about now? Yeah, there we go. But it's the wrong size. Why is life so hard? Hang on. You guys will probably see it resize all weird. There we go, cool. Okay, so first up we've got the nginx ingress controller from nginx, not the nginx ingress controller from Manuel. Hey, something dinged at me, that's cool. Oh no, that's interesting. No, that's not true. I can see the Discord chat because I'm logged into Discord. So, yeah, it's cool. That's the only thing I can see. Okay, right, this. That's right, I'm gonna fake technical difficulties, Wojtek. I'm gonna just spend 15 minutes. Yeah, okay. So anyway, here we go. This, they had an update, and so if you're using the nginx ingress controller from nginx, well, they've got some cool stuff out. Most of this is related to support for their new service mesh stuff, which I found interesting, and that's the main reason that I wanted to talk about it today. I was talking smack about nginx service mesh the other day because they were talking smack about everybody else, and because it's fun. And in that show, I was unable to get any real information about the nginx service mesh because it just took you to an F5 login screen. But they've got support for it in their open source ingress controller, which makes me wonder if they're going to make the service mesh available for the open source community, perhaps in some kind of crippled way. Oh, slurp, did you guys hear that? Coffee's still super warm today. Let me back away from the mic here. I try not to sound like I'm eating ramen on the show, but it's better than hearing me scream because I burned my mouth. I'm curious to know if anybody has started use. Oh, you hear the slurp. Slurp. I'm curious if anybody has actually kicked the tires on the nginx service mesh and has any input on it. Their whole deal is that it's not based on Envoy, and that's part of what they were talking smack about. And yeah, so anyway, I'd like to know. They've got a bunch of other stuff in there, bug fixes, lots of things. This is a minor release, so we're up to 1.9.0. And then whether you're using the, okay, hang on. Let me see how I can say this. If you're using the nginx, this is so confusing. If you're using the nginx ingress controller from nginx, I'd like to know why you're using that instead of using the open source nginx ingress controller from the community ingress nginx that is, already installed everywhere. Why did you switch? Is it because you have a paid contract? Is it because you were confused because they're called the same thing? And then out of that, I would also like to know, and I'm asking you guys, like, come tell me in Discord, come to the community site and post something about it there. If you use the community nginx ingress controller, like, I really like it. It's stable, it's solid, it just kind of works. And, well, that's kind of getting in its way. If it's not perfect, like, even if you think it's perfect, even if you have no complaints about it, I'm sure you can look at it and be like, well, I wish it did this, or I wish it did that, or it doesn't, like, there's got to be something about it that it can do better. And I've been approached and asked to ask you guys in the community what it can do differently or better, or what you love about it, or any feedback on it at all. So please come to the community site, come to Discord, either ping me directly, post something about why I love nginx. I might make an article in fact, I will. I'll make an article in the community site about collecting feedback for the nginx ingress controller from the community, and just post your comments there. What do we got? Nuno says, good selling practices confuse the customers with the same names. Yes, yes. Just look at VMware for a wonderful example of that. Ken says that he's put off by the direction that nginx's business model is being taken by F5. Okay. I mean, F5 bought it, and whenever you spend a bunch of money for things, you got to figure out how to monetize it. So nginx already had an enterprise component. I don't know. If you have more information about that, I'm curious to know your thoughts, because I only see it from the outside. I'm not an F5 customer, and I'm not an nginx customer, so anything I say, I'll just be, making up. Nuno says they'll eventually purchase it because they think it's the sole option. What I found interesting about VMware's original Tanzu licensing model stuff is that it looked like if you bought product A, you got everything, but then once you've bought it, you realize, oh, if I actually want to use Kubernetes, I also need some pieces from product B, but I only need like a third of product B. So you buy product B, and then you're like, oh, well, if I really want to use Kubernetes, I actually need to also buy this other thing over here, and then I need to pay for their SaaS solution. And so you end up buying all of this stuff that you only need a piece of just so you can use a solution that you could otherwise get for free. So there you go. I don't dislike VMware. I just think that their licensing strategy, their product naming strategy is just, what's a word I can say online? Confusing in a way that doesn't benefit their customers. How's that? Next up. I don't normally put enterprise-only stuff on the show because I want you guys to have options for doing stuff without having to spend a bunch of money. Because like this is for individuals. This show is, I want you individual people who are watching to be able to do things and exert control and influence and power over the machines that are in your domain. But I wanted to at least call this out because a lot of times we will see features start out in the enterprise products and then work their way down to the open source products. And so I'm hoping that there's some stuff that is in TraefikEE 2.3 that rolls its way down. So one is that now you can use Vault for certificate generation or for a certificate provider. So Traefik has always had support for Let's Encrypt. So you can just, from within Traefik, you can, fire off let's encrypt requests and get your certificates. There's a comment about VMware. And so now you can do that with Vault, which makes sense because, Vault is a PKI infrastructure provider. And so they just said, oh, well, we just point it over there and let's talk to it instead. So if you're running Vault, that's cool. And then they're jumping on board the GitOps bandwagon. I know Traffic watches the show. This is confusing, Traffic. And let me tell you why. GitOps is about deploying stuff inside of a Kubernetes cluster from a Git repository where Git is the source of truth. And so you have something like Argo or whatever that's like watching things, and then when things change, it does deployments, and that's wonderful. Why do I need this in my load balancer? That was my first thought. I'm like, why does my load balancer need to stick itself in the middle of this process that has nothing to do with load balancing? And I clicked on follow my step-by-step installation documentation, which now when I click on it doesn't work. There we go. So using GitOps in Traffic, GitOps is a set of workflows and practices that make Git the source of truth for infrastructure configuration management. Okay. Oh, I see. I can now install Traffic Enterprise Edition from a GitOps workflow. Okay. That's not quite as exciting as what the headline makes it sound like. But now if you do have GitOps workflows in your environment and you want to be able to completely rebuild your cluster, including your Traffic Enterprise Edition component, the problem was always around the license file. So you just need to create a secret. And then once the secret has been created and you have a config map for the actual configuration, the static configuration, then from within the GitOps hoobity bloobity blah, you can actually spin up a Traffic Enterprise Edition installation. So that's cool. And Vito says, weird, how often do you need to install update Traffic with GitOps? I'm thinking basically 0% of the time, unless you're building a cluster again from scratch. And so, yeah, it's neat, it's interesting, it's helpful. I think it's a little bit too, it's like, we support GitOps, check, please use our product. I see people are talking about the Edge conference from last night. If you, I just kicked my chair. If you were in the Edge conference last night and you watched my session, thank you. If you watched other people's sessions, that's also really good. We had a lot of really amazing stuff going on in there yesterday, from like the AR-backed warfighter stuff that Booz Allen is doing, all the way to like Microsoft was presenting on Acri, and we had AIoT stuff. There was just a lot of stuff. Hey, Pop. Those sessions will be available for on-demand watching for 30 days, but only if you registered for the conference, and registration ended at like 8:30 Pacific last night. So if you didn't register for the conference, well, that's okay. After the 30 days are over, those videos will end up somewhere else because they were all just really, really amazing. I don't know where that'll be yet. They'll probably be gated, and you'll just have to like give up your email address and you'll be able to watch it. Wife butts wrangling the cats out there, I see. Yeah, it was a really cool show. My stuff was basically the same kind of thing I did yesterday morning, where I talked about lots and lots and lots of Edge things. And there was some really cool stuff. If we run out of time today, maybe I'll try and dig one of those up and talk about them. Thank you to all of you who did come and did watch. I saw some messages coming in from some of you at like 3 o'clock in the morning, which is very nice. Okay. Datadog had a video that they released actually quite a while ago, but it just popped up a couple of days ago. And my initial thought, the way that I approach a lot of these things is like it comes up and I just like do kind of an open-minded scan of it. And then I'm like, really, 45 minutes? I don't have time to sit through that. What do you have in your session down here? And they talk about some of the technologies that are part of the platform that they created for doing software delivery inside of their entire environment that their engineering teams could use. And they're like Helm, CNAB, and Bazel. And as you've heard me say on the show before, I'm like, what the heck is blah, blah, blah. And that's how I find a lot of these things, is I read stuff with a mind that says, I don't know what that word means. Let me go find that out. And I start like following this rope, this chain of things. And I came across CNAB, Cloud Native Application Bundle. Some of you who are developers probably already know about this and you're like, Adrian, you're like so 2017. But I'm not a developer and I've never come across this before. I went back and watched the Datadog video, which I encourage you to do. It's well produced. And they talk about how they're using CNAB. So CNAB is a spec. It's not actually like a thing that you can install. But if you're familiar with Helm as the package manager for Kubernetes, and if you're familiar with Gravity or Gravitational and their weird Kubernetes thing that I'm always trying to, I just totally don't understand, it's like an open source, open specification to do that better. You bundle up your deliverable, which can be like a container. You bundle up your instruction set on how to install it, which could be a Helm chart, but then you also bundle the tool that does the installation. So these things are packaged up and then deployable, and you don't have to worry about, oh, it's kind of like how containers themselves gave us the ability to deploy applications. And Whitebot asked me a question. Is Datadog a paid solution? Yes, but this is not. The CNAB, I don't know if Datadog has like an open source or a free tier or whatever. I'm not talking about Datadog. I'm talking about cloud native application bundles. So containers gave us the ability to overcome the problem of, well, it worked on my computer. You know, I'm the developer. It runs fine here. I ship it off to you in production, and you're running, you know, some older version of the library that doesn't have some system call or whatever, and everything just falls apart. Containers allow us to overcome that by packaging the application and all of its dependencies into a little shippable thing that's guaranteed to run the same everywhere. This is the same kind of thing, but for installing applications. If I'm using some particular thing in a particular version of Helm, or if I want it to be installed with, I don't know, Customize or kubectl or whatever, that little component is also in there. So now I can ship this to you and you just execute this, and the stuff gets installed. And then these layers of abstraction freak me out. It's this total inception thing. It's like we've gone from containers. Now we have an abstraction for how to install containers. And then we're going to have another abstraction for another abstraction and another. And we're like, pretty soon we're going to be way down here with this like tesseract of multi-dimensional nonsense that like expands out like a slinky and then wham, slams back together. And suddenly we're like, oh crap, I could have just run like apt-get install, whatever. I'm kidding. The CNABs actually look really cool. Now, as not a developer, I doubt I'm going to have any real interaction with them. But if you are interested in how you can use this, if you're in an operations team in an organization and you want to help your developers, and developers need help, you want to help your developers maintain freedom and still maintain control over the things that they install, it's totally worth watching this video and then looking at the CNAB spec. I'm going to go see what's happening in the chat. I lost my chat window. Oh my gosh, she's posting pictures of Loki. Tesseract. Dude, come on, is Wifebot on her game or what? So glad she's here with us. Continuing to talk about Helm, here is a wonderful article from Arseni. We had Arseni on the show back in like episode 38 or something, where he wrote a really big, he thinks similar to how I do, where he's like, oh, so like, how does I get from this to what does this mean to how do I get to that? And then he follows these things and he's like, well, let me write up some documentation and share it with the world. Well, he's back now and he's written up how to do templating of Helm charts. And basically he was sitting there and he's like, okay, so I'm gonna, install this with Helm, and then I'm gonna install this other thing with Helm, and then I'm gonna create a Helm chart for this other thing. And pretty soon he's got a lot of identical code across all of these charts. And he's like duplicating it. And he's like, well, this doesn't scale. How can I make this better? Well, Helm has support for templating. Cool. If you knew that, great. If you knew that, but you didn't know how to get started, great. Just read this article, because he gives you, like his other article, you can't see the scroll bar, can you? Oh yeah, you kind of can over there, like right, where is it? It's over here. There, scroll bar. Totally not. Because I'm going up. I'm like, why is it going the wrong direction? This is a huge article. Like his other article. Like the dude spent massive amounts of time to teach you how to do everything related to templating Helm charts. Templates inside of templates and variable substitutions and so on and so forth. So thank you, Arseni, for, I'm not even going to continue scrolling. It's amazing. Anybody who actually builds Helm charts, anybody who actually drinks coffee, who builds Helm charts. Oh, it's Helm's 5th birthday? Really? Oh my God. Thank you, Eric. Eric says Adrian just did a better pitch for CNAB than Docker, Microsoft, and Pivotal have done over the last 18 months. It's always a risk though, because I try to process all this information really quick and I hope I get it right. But I also rely on you guys to tell me when I get it wrong, and then I can come back and cover that in another show. So that's cool. I'm glad I got it right. All right. Helm. Helm's like, it's just one of those things you got to know how to do. It's, if you have a choice of how to deploy something or how to share a Kubernetes application deployment with other people, like the easiest thing is just make it into a Helm chart. Fleet from Rancher has also standardized on Helm charts, and they do, most GitOps solutions will deploy what you want them to deploy. So if you have a customized templates or YAML or a Helm chart, like they go and they deploy that, but they leave it up to you to figure out what that is. Fleet converts everything to a Helm chart. So you can give it YAML, you can give it customized templates, you can give it a Helm chart, in which case it doesn't convert it. But the other stuff, it just converts to a Helm chart and then it applies Helm charts in the downstream clusters. That's cool if you're deploying applications and you don't want to learn how to use Helm, but you still want to make it possible for like the roll forward, roll back, releases, all of that stuff that Helm provides. Fleet, designed for 1 million clusters, works great on a single one. Oh, I don't know, I'm pointing at the browser that you can't see. There we go, let's try this again. Fleet, designed for 1 million clusters, whatever. Okay. Well, yeah. No, all right, Eric. Eric says he has to drop. Thanks for hanging out with us. All you people who work in the UK, gotta get to your jobs. Okay, now we're doing, yeah, so Adrian can apparently talk slow and like mumble about things. Here's another one. I found this article that said deploying GRR to Kubernetes, and I read it as deploying GRR to Kubernetes. GRR was the InvaderZim sidekick. InvaderZim GRR. Except it was spelled differently. Okay, well, it sounded the same. GRR, doom, 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 doom. Anyway, I looked at this and I was like, what the heck is GRR? So GRR is a GRR rapid response. The Doom song? Doom, 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 doom. It's GRR, but I'm just gonna keep calling it GRR because it just sounds so much cooler. And I think it's actually Google Rapid Response. It's not GRR Rapid Response because that's just that doesn't make any sense. But this came out of Google. I think it's Google Rapid Response. And basically, it's a framework for deploying stuff into Kubernetes it's a client server environment. So you deploy the clients out there and then it actually works with more than just Kubernetes, I think. Installing GRR clients, deploying. Yeah, so it works on laptops and stuff like that. The client's going to be installed on basically anything. This article was how to deploy GRR into Kubernetes if you need to do forensics on a Kubernetes cluster. This article is mostly about how to build a Docker image and how to deploy a daemon side, which makes it not super interesting. So we're going to go back over here. So GRR, you deploy clients and they have this whole, investigating with GRR. So you deploy clients and it can manage and interact with thousands and thousands of machines. And it does this by using flows where it can send instructions. So you can hunt for a machine. In fact, that was one of the things they have over here. You can hunt for a machine. You can hunt for machines that match certain criteria. And then you create a flow of what you want them to do. And the server sends the client periodically reaches back and goes, hey, do you got any work for me? And the server's like, yes. And so it sends it work. And then the server deletes all of the resources that it had allocated for the flow, and it just waits for the client to come back. When the client comes back and says, here's the responses to the stuff that you asked, the server recreates the flow and applies the responses. And it's like a state machine where it moves through these various states. But because it only creates the flow for long enough to either deliver the instruction set or process the response, it can manage a ridiculous number of downstream clients. It works on Windows, Linux, Mac OS. You can deploy it inside of Kubernetes. And honestly, for the security-related stuff that I've seen about how to do forensics on any type of compromised environment, I know Dan's in the chat. Dan probably has some response about where this fits into a larger security ecosystem. So Pop, if you have anything you want to throw out there. I've had stuff on the show where it's like, oh, here's just a random pod that you can deploy that'll allow you to like bundle up things and here's how we write the sound when someone is angry in French. Yeah, that's the same in English. Grrr. It's a growl. It's a dog growl. I don't know, if somebody compromised my stuff, I'd be angry, right? Grrr. Or maybe it's like the sound of a Doberman before he attacks. So where I've had stuff on the show before that was just a random pod that you deploy that like bundles things up and ships it to S3, this is designed to be a comprehensive solution for your entire infrastructure, from fleets of laptops to standalone servers to desktop machines to all of it. And you can even just have these clients running there all the time, which is probably a good idea if you're in an environment where you are at risk of compromise. And you can just periodically do scans and look for malicious processes. And in one of the examples, I don't remember if it was here or in some of their other documentation that I was reading this morning. So yeah, here's an example of like deploying it as a daemon set on 3 nodes, and then it picks up, oh, evil process. And they said, so this is an oversimplified example in contrast to a production Kubernetes installation. In a much larger cluster, it may be an idea to regularly collect process listings for all nodes and use frequency of occurrence analysis to identify outlying or anomalous processes and look into what they are. So yeah, just do sampling periodically and then use an analysis of that to figure out, okay, this one periodically has some weird stuff happening. Let's go dig into it and say, what the heck is that? What the heck is that? I need that on a t-shirt. What the heck is... Because that's how I learn. Oh, what, you want me to end the show on time? Please. Please. Gur also uses a thing called FleetSpeak, which is like a client-server messaging thing that uses a database as a backend. I don't really have much to say about it. I was like, oh, okay. Sure. Tool of the day today is descheduler. I want to thank OneDrop for suggesting this to me. Descheduler is a thing that goes around periodically and looks to see if the criteria that Kubernetes used to schedule a pod to a node no longer applies. And if it no longer applies, bang, it evicts the pod. This may be useful for node rebalancing, but it's certainly useful for any time that you have the criteria that changed for a node, because the scheduler just puts it somewhere. And after that, if the criteria change, scheduler's like, hey, I did my work, I'm done. I don't know what you want from me. So descheduler comes along and just nukes things. And then scheduler's like, oh, okay, I got work to do. And it goes and puts it somewhere else. This is part of Kubernetes SIGs, so it's also legit. And I don't remember what Okay, Devin, you're in the chat. I don't remember why you recommended this for me. It was something from the Home Lab stuff, that something works well. Frigate, was it? Is it Frigate? He said something works with... Anyway, something works well with this. It wasn't Frigate. Node feature discovery. Oh, yes. Node feature discovery is something from the go back and watch the Kate's at Home Lab show. Node feature discovery it labels nodes with criteria according to things like this has the USB dongle for my Z-Wave controller or something like that. But if I unplug that and I move it over here, which I'm always off screen. If I unplug that and I move it to a different node, the label might change, but the workload that depends on it would still be there. So descheduler would pick that up, evict the pod that needs the USB dongle, and then scheduler would put it over there because the node is labeled. So for node feature discovery, this is a very nice thing to make it more useful. Thank you, Devin. Well, what have we learned today? We've learned that I can take basically nothing and talk about it for a half an hour, which might mean that on some nights where I'm really struggling to stay awake, maybe I don't have to come up with quite as many things. Well, if you liked what you saw today, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all of those places, and you'll come hang out with us. Links to everything I talk about in the show. Oh, this is actually important. If you already left the video, you're gonna miss out. Yeah, but you don't know. I spent this past week testing out if I want to not put links in the YouTube videos and just send people directly to the community site, and I'm gonna stop doing that. So those of you who are in the community will get access to the replay and access to the links a day before everybody else. So the video itself doesn't go live until the following day. So come join the community site. And it's fun anyway, it's free. There's lots of stuff going on there. And you get, free access to stuff. Tomorrow is Giveaway Friday. We didn't make 50 last week. If we make 50 tomorrow, I will give away a copy of Brett Fisher's Kubernetes Mastery course, because that's what we're doing for October. Yeah, thank you for joining me. I hope you have... I need a way to end the show. I've been saying stay dangerous, but I don't know if lots of people want to stay dangerous. Stay awesome? That seems like somebody else is probably already using that. Thank you for joining me. Keep learning. I will see you in the next show. Oh, drink lots of coffee. Stay coffee. I don't know. Tell me, we need something. I need something. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.